Hello and welcome to Tactical Fishing. Thank you guys for joining me for a exciting episode today. Today we're talking about technique and breaking down how to use these baits and lures and the technique behind it, the movement behind it, and the goal behind each step and each movement when throwing these certain lures and baits I'm going to go over and cover today. These are basic baits that if you apply what I'm teaching today, you can go out and catch some bass. But I'm gonna talk about Mystery Tackle Box. Mystery Tackle Box sponsored by Carl's Bait and Tackle. They put a bunch of great baits, especially this season of the bass fishing season is the spring. So they're gonna put spring baits in here. They may have some promo codes. I'm not sure, but if they do, they usually give a very good discount if you're a first timer buying Mystery Tackle Box. If not, you can scroll down to the description below. You can get $10 off on your first box. So that's MysteryTackleBox.com. Check those guys out. And we're about to get started and learning some basic techniques to bass fishing. So let's get it popping. Sick. Colorado Blade. Colorado Blade does it for me again, baby. I said this is the year of the Giants. This is a 3-pounder. Easy spot on the Colorado Blade. Look at that. Hey, what's up, guys? Actually forgot to mention that we are at Freedom Park and we're gonna get it sort of popping, but mostly today is just straight up teaching bass fishing 101 and technique. First, we're gonna start off something a little simple on the teaching video, something really simple and very basic is learning how to use a Texas rig style worm. This is the pretty much groundwork and the basic to basic type of fishing that you can possibly do. Especially for a new beginner, you can learn this and go out and start today. But actually I'm gonna release a video showing you how to rig up a Texas rig and bullet weight and all that good stuff. So Texas rig is simple. It's a bullet weight. It's attached. You put that on first, and then you tie on your hook. And this is an open out hook, size 2, with I call them the Fat Juicy. This is a Googan Bait Pure Passion Lunker Log. Very, very good bait. Very good choice of lure. I've used Googan Bait for a long time. I like these guys. They're very, very fun. But using the worm, it's basic, man. Because of the weight, it sinks down. You throw it out, you let it sink to the bottom. You kind of give it a little rest, kind of let things settle down, so the fish can kind of zoom in on that, and then you kind of bounce. I'll show you once I get through the little training session part, but you just kind of bounce it around a little bit at the bottom. You know, I'll give it a 1, 2, 1. You're not moving it, you're not reeling it, you're just kind of bouncing off the bottom. So I'll give it 1, 1, 2, pause for a second, 1, 2, pause for. I do that twice, that same rhythm. Then I start to reel in, and give it some same pause, but extremely light. That gives off the realism and is, you know, That's what it's all about, bass fishing. The more realistic you move your baits and lures, the more interested the fish are in going after what you do. It's all about realism and movement. That's the basic groundwork of bass fishing. And you learn the movement down, man, you go out and just destroy a bag. I've done that. I've switched up things in my tactics and technique and how I'm doing something like the popper. You know, usually when you're throwing a popper, if you ever seen a popper move, watch a video on YouTube or anything like this, erratic movement, I just slowed it down to like just super slow, and it got results everywhere I go. I've caught fish, you know, back to back, back to back. So the next on the list is a Strike King Perfect Plastic. Great color. You can throw it anywhere. It looks like a bass, a small bass, or a small striper. Um, Strike King Perfect Plastic. They make cool bait. Strike King does. So I got this on a, if you can see it from the other side, no you can't, a 3/0 weight on that, and that's drilled in. And how I would use this is like my go-to lure. You know, everywhere I go, where there's a pond or lake or anything, everywhere I go, I'm throwing a Strike King Perfect Plastic weighted. I always use it weighted. So I throw it out, let it sink to the bottom. I use it a similar technique style as the worm. You make it more realistic as possible. So the reason behind why I'm throwing it out and just kind of sit there, it becomes certain fish go after wounded fish. I've seen a striper do it. I threw my bait out there, kind of let it sit and just kind of jiggle it around a little bit. They like that. So my technique is I throw it out. You know, I give it, you know, 3 jerks, really light jerks. I'm not reeling and not doing anything, just give me jerks, 1, 2, 3. Let it settle down for about a second, 1, 2. Now repeat that 3 times, that cycle 3 times. But when I start to reel it in, I give it 1, 2, 3, and I'm reeling, 1, 2, reeling, 1, 2, 3, reeling. And that's it. It's very different from the normal style. Most people just throw it out and they just really retrieve it, you know, throw it out, or the medium reel it, slow reel it, really slow reel it. But I give it pops, and that's worked for me. So let's get to doing some bass fishing and get y'all in and show you how it looks. And so let's get it started. All right, guys, we're going to start off with the Strike King Perfect Plastic first. The lighting is not good. Okay. Strike King Perfect Plastic. So what I do is just throw it out. Let it sink to the bottom. Kind of test my rod to see if a fish hit it, because sometimes they like to hit it when it drops. I mean, if you're a big bass, see a beautiful Strike King Perfect Plastic fall to the bottom, you're gonna hit it. And I've had that happen. So I'm just kind of filling out a little bit, see what's going on. All right, now once I let the bait kind of settle down, I'll give it those pops. So you see my rod, I give it 1, 2, 3. Let it kind of settle. 1, 2. Let it settle. 1, 2, 3. Let it settle. 1, 2. And then I start to reel. I thought I had a fish just now. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And as you're reeling, they're settling them back down. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. So as you're reeling and you stop, that bait is kind of settling down a little bit. So I'm gonna do one more cast. So your rod movement would be, I'm gonna skip being at the bottom and move in just to the reel. So that's 1, 2, 3. And you're reeling, reel, 1, 2, reel, 1, 2, 3, reel, 1, 2, reel, 1, 2, 3, reel. And that's the skip technique. But like when the fish aren't hitting that at all, I go to more of a simple approach, and that's just basically let it sit at the bottom, and you just reeling it in, scraping the bottom with that bait. So I throw it out, kind of check, see if it's at the bottom yet. This is not a deep pond, so I think the most is probably like 8 feet deep or something like that. I don't know. But you're filling the bottom, and you drag it at the bottom, and you just reel it back in, and you just drag that bait at the bottom. Reel it back in, and you drag that bait. It's kind of like a Carolina rig when you're dragging it. It's like a Carolina rig. Drag that bait. It's just the best way to go when those fish aren't biting. That technique is usually the easy way to go. So we're gonna go on and skip right to the next part, and that's the trick worm. All right, we're using a really, really simple lure, and that is the good old fashioned, just if I can zoom in. I can. Look. The good old Texas rig worm. Very, very simple, basic. This is a very good place to start if you're a new bass fisherman. If you want to catch fish easy, it doesn't involve a lot of technique. Just learning how, just to be realistic with your lure, with your bait, and it's a good way to practice. So all I do is throw it out and just let that bait drop all the way to the bottom. I'm losing all visibility. So I let that bait drop all the way to the bottom. Kind of check it a little bit. All right. So that bait's at the bottom. So I start to give it little nudges pop. If you look closely at my rod, I'm giving it really, really, really light pops. So it's a 1, 2. Let it drop. 1. Let it drop. 1, 2. Let it drop. 1. And it's that simple. But as that bait's sitting there, you want to give it a little action, a little movement. Let it sink to the bottom, kind of let it settle down a little bit, so this bass can kind of zoom in, see what's going on. So while I was at the bottom, giving it little pops. Little pops. Little tiny pop. I'm barely moving my rod. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. 2, 1. Then I started to reel that bad boy on in. Pops. And that is the good old fashioned Texas rig. Like I said, very, very simple lure to use when you're starting off as a new beginner, as a bass fisherman. Very, very simple lure to use. I have no visibility. Very, very simple lure to use when you're starting off as a bass fisherman. Very, very simple. And so, guys, until next time, I will see you later at Tactical Fish. Remember, keep it popping.
Don't wake me, I'm not dreaming.